I think marijuana is most certainly harmful. And what's very interesting is you start looking at the research, especially the research as it pertains to adolescents and chronic use in adolescents. The research is overwhelmingly saying that it is significantly bad for the health of adolescents. When you talk about the cognitive problems with those who habitually use marijuana, it was often assumed years ago that if you stopped smoking marijuana that your cognitive abilities would come back. You just needed the marijuana fog, so to speak, to clear. That is not being reflected in the research. What they're showing is that based on longitudinal studies, that individuals who habitually use marijuana, especially when they're under the age of 25, never fully regain their cognitive abilities. And that's something that's not being discussed. In addition to that, you have the risk regarding driving under the intoxication, the exacerbation or even the precipitation of psychiatric problems such as schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. And what we're seeing more and more of is there's always been this debate of, is marijuana a gateway drug? Now the research is showing that for those who habitually use marijuana when they're young, it does something to rewire the brain and makes those patients not only more susceptible to being addicted to marijuana, but susceptible to being addicted to all other substances as well. So it's a high risk, especially in our young people. And what concerns me is that these marijuana laws, as they're written, are written in a way that parents and caregivers could sign a form and allow adolescents to use these products. And I think that's incredibly irresponsible and will lead to significant harm to our young people. And I would say unequivocally, the plant is not medicine. The plant cannot go through the FDA approval process because you don't know the dose, you don't know the other compounds that are in there, you can't control the amount that you're getting to patients. So a plant can never be FDA approved. The best thing that a plant can do is be offered as like a supplement or an herb or something like that, but it's not a controlled way of doing this. And the compounds are so potent within the marijuana plant that if you do it with anything less than an FDA approval process and strict confines on it, it could be very dangerous to people. So the marijuana plant is not medicine. The compounds within the plant can be used medicinally, and that's a very important distinction to make. But when it comes down to it, this is a huge business, a huge industry, much bigger than big tobacco, that is pouring literally millions of dollars into marketing in an attempt to tell people that this is a safe product and that this is a healthy product and this is medicine that's going to help suffering people. And it's absolutely incorrect. My biggest concern is that when you look at the history, the states that have first approved medical marijuana, quote unquote medical marijuana, have very soon thereafter approved recreational marijuana. And I think that that's the end game here. When you talk to the people who are pushing this and you look at the industry and the money that's behind it, I think the ultimate goal is to make marijuana free and legal for everyone and to make a lot of money from it. What a lot of people I think are missing in this debate is the effects it'll have on jobs, the effects it'll have on landlords and those who own rental property, and the effects that it'll have on the taxpayer. So, for instance, employers, it specifically says in this legislation that employers cannot discriminate against marijuana users for both the hiring and the firing of these individuals in employment situations. That is very concerning to a number of employers around the state. Another aspect of marijuana and this legislation that's promoting marijuana that a lot of people don't realize is the fact that there will be edibles available in these dispensaries if this law passes. They have candy bars that look like Milky Ways and Reese's peanut butter cups, and they just change the name a little bit, but the packaging is absolutely the same. I've seen sodas that are flavored sugary drinks that are laced with THC and other cannabis products. There's cotton candy and other types of candy products. So it's very obvious to me, number one, these things are not being rolled out with safety as the primary concern. And number two, they're marketing this to children and trying to sell this to young people. And these are products that absolutely will be available based on the legislation in our state and available for people with a medical marijuana card to pick up. The big marijuana industry has poured millions of dollars over the last 10 years into a nationwide campaign to convince people that marijuana is medicine and marijuana is safe. Marijuana is neither of those things. And it's up to the people of Arkansas to take a critical eye and look at this issue for themselves and realize that what is being pushed from the West Coast by these big industries is not exactly as it appears.